Court ruled that media can legally lie by Leanne Caston. February 2003, a Florida Court of Appeals unanimously agreed with an assertion by Fox News that there is no rule against distorting or falsifying the news in the United States.
News journalists today have absolutely no integrity. They make up stories, tell half-truths, and report for the interests of corporations and the government. They report exactly what the government and corporations want and how the government and corporations want it to be reported. These journalists and reporters are more interested in making money, taking bribes, and career advancement than reporting the truth to the masses. Let's see what a former Capitol Hill reporter has to say about the news media.
Andrea Seabrook, former Capitol Hill reporter for NPR, stated, "I realize that there is a part of covering Congress. If you're doing daily coverage, that is actually sort of colluding with the politicians themselves, because so much of what I was doing was actually recording and playing what they say or repeating what they say." Seabrook told Politico, "And I feel like the real story of Congress right now is very much removed from any of that, from the sort of theater of the policy debate in Congress, and it has become such a complete theater that none of it is real. I feel like I am, as a reporter in the Capitol Hill, lied to every day, all day. There is so little genuine discussion going on with the reporters. To me, as a reporter, everything is spin."
It seems that our right for the freedom of press has been infringed upon. The news media cares nothing about the truth. They care nothing about truthfully and unbiasedly informing us. They rather lie to keep their jobs with all their incentives than have some type of backbone. America and people of the world that fall under this type of media, we are highly uninformed, deeply misinformed, and intentionally kept in the dark when it comes to important issues. We must learn to decipher through these lies and make those responsible be held accountable for the delusions they are placing in the minds of millions of people. Let's take back the news for the people. A half-truth is a whole lie. In reality, there is no independent free news, media, or press. How much truth is withheld from us in mainstream news, broadcasts, and newspaper articles? There is a hidden and centralized system of censorship. There are about 232 news correspondents working for these 6 corporations that are in charge of conveying news and information to over 277 million people. These reporters are supposed to be reporting the true current events in our region and around the world. We are supposed to know what the weather is truly going to be outside. Their job is to report to us the latest and most interesting happenings that occur in our society. We are supposed to know exactly what new inventions, discoveries, and explorations are being made. They are supposed to enlighten us and keep us abreast with our community and other communities throughout the free world.
Reporters and journalists caught lying. Jason Blair, New York Times, resigned after being caught making up his stories and interviews with people he never met. Eason Jordan, CNN Chief News Executive, resigned after claiming U.S. military deliberately killed journalists in Iraq. Dan Rather, CBS, resigned after fictitious reports about George W. Bush's military career.
Basically, these reporters were told what to report, and when the public found out to be a lie, the reporters ended up being the scapegoat and took the fall, lost their credibility and their jobs. Look, the disinformation agents are in the bed with an elite group of professional, organized liars, thieves, thugs, and hitmen. Disinformation agents are people planted in the media to deliberately ensnare us in their deceptive web of lies, betrayal, and tyranny. They mislead and misform us with data contrary to the truth. What they do is present enough true information and data so when false information is released, they will seem as if they were speaking the truth all along. These personalities are being used to keep the public in a perpetual fear. We have tolerated this encroachment for generations, and the time is now to come out and step away from the media and its miserable influence.
An unconscious people and an indoctrinated people, a people fed only partisan information and opinion that confirm their own bias, a people made morbidly obese in mind and spirit by junk food of propaganda is less inclined to put up a fight, ask questions, and be skeptical. And just as a democracy can die of too many lies, that kind of orthodoxy can kill us too. Bill Moyers. Only constant repetition will finally succeed in imprinting an idea on the memory of the crowd. Adolf Hitler. See, in my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda. George W. Bush, 43rd President, in Greece, New York, May 24th, 2005. Look, if you think any American official is going to tell you the truth, then you're stupid. Did you hear that? Stupid. Arthur Sylvester, Assistant Secretary for Defense for Public Affairs. This information is a large part of its CIA's covert action responsibility, and the American people are the primary target of its lies. Ralph McGehee, former CIA intelligence analyst, author of Daily Deceits, My 25 Years in the CIA. The business of the journalist is to destroy the truth, to lie outright, to pervert, to vilify, to fawn at the feet of Mammon, and to sell the country for his daily bread. We are tools and vessels for rich men behind the scenes. We are intellectual prostitutes. John Swinton, New York Times editor, in a speech before the New York Press Club, 1953. The media's most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and that's power because they control the minds of the masses. Malcolm X. The news and truth are not the same thing. Walter Lippmann, 1889 through 1974, American journalist.
Have you ever noticed while watching the news how important issues are rushed through while celebrity entertainment has its own segment? Not only does it have its own segment, it is also spread throughout the news programming. We are not talking about the likes of TMZ or Entertainment Tonight. We're talking about your regular, local, and even international daily news. The same news that reports on the weather, traffic, political issues, and tragedies also views entertainment as legit and must-know news. Entertainment is hardly need-to-know information. All this does is pull our minds away from the real issues that truly affects us and have us focused on a complete stranger's luxurious life that has absolutely no effect on our personal lives, our communities, or our well-being for that matter. Why is it news that Miley Cyrus' dog died or what celebrity wore what designer clothing at a specific event, and how you can buy the same outfit for a fraction of the price? We have to ask ourselves, does this information relayed to us have any relevance, or is it just nonsense to boost ratings? The news media and the entertainment industry work hand in hand. As long as the news push these celebrities' news stories, the celebrities stay a relevant product. The news stations keeps higher ratings, and both end up with some type of financial gain. This does not benefit the people for one bit. It may seem somehow to be news to us, and it may seem somehow to benefit us, but it does not. It is only for the benefit of the news company and celebrities involved. Our media contacts today enjoy keeping the public oblivious to real matters of importance. They never truly cover real social issues. The news outlets put out a facade of information masquerading it as the truth, whereby our conscious and subconscious are falling victim to a very intrusive and brutal raping of our mind. We begin to believe the reality that is placed before us, displayed on the television and the other media outlets. What they have done is taken our ability to critically think, or even think for that matter, and shifted it to a more deviant way of thinking. Yeah, see? This is all part of their plan for mass mind control by using silent weapons of social automation technology. The powers that be would love for us to remain undisciplined, disengaged, and dumbfounded from true topics of relevance. In using the media, newspapers, magazines, entertainment news, talk shows, music, movies, it all allows them to infiltrate us at a large capacity, thus keeping us in a continuous state of confusion, distraction, and disorganization. Our news media has a very important job to do by being the informers for the people, and they have failed miserably in their duties and sold us out for a bunch of earthly trinkets, prestige, and Nielsen ratings.
What is media blackout and press blackout? Well, it's when our First Amendment rights are deliberately being repressed without our knowledge. That's what it is. Media and press blackouts are censorship of certain news topics. What is censorship? It is the suppression of speech or any public communication that they consider harmful, objectionable, sensitive, or the information is not in line with what they want you to know. When I say censorship, I mean there is absolutely no knowledge of coverage for that particular event ever occurring. For instance, the Trayvon Martin situation, the releasing of President Obama's birth certificate, the bailout controversy, the protests and revolutions going on all across the world as we speak. People are totally uninformed, and this act is enforced by the government and or the state or private owners of the news companies. Wartime or peacetime, they black out anytime. If there is information such as the radioactivity levels in the air since the earthquake in Japan, do you think this is something they will inform the public of? Not likely, especially if they are trying to depopulate. How about when a Chinese man stabbed 23 little children a week or so before the Connecticut shootings? This is a very well-tuned symphony, and everyone plays their part at the right time. The American public are oblivious because we care not to ask the proper questions and exercise our rights accordingly. When we encounter information we weren't informed of by our local media channels, then we need to hold them accountable. Or do what we have done for years. Do not patronize any ounce of their multiple companies. This next disturbing quote verifies the influence that the corporate and political elite have on the media and their ultimate goal. Keep in mind that this quote comes from the person that basically owns the mainstream media.
We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during these years. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practiced in past centuries. David Rockefeller, CFR and Trilateral Commission founder.
How can we know what is truly going on if our so-called trusted news sources keep pulling the wool over our eyes with doctored stories, non-important issues, and blacking out the real and most important information that we need to know? Don't trust anything you hear on the news. They are paid to deliver stories their superiors want and how they should report them. We need to open our eyes as a nation because we are being dumbed down, brainwashed, and lied to by our so-called press and media. Y'all bless.